Welcome, friends. The cafe was alive with chatter, blinking cups and cheerful faces. Yet in one quiet corner sat a girl who seemed invisible to the world. She was the CEO's daughter, beautiful in her white dress, but confined to her wheelchair. While the world moved around her, she remained still, her eyes heavy with the weight of silence, her heart aching with the longing to be part of something, to be seen, to be loved. Children laughed nearby, couples shared smiles, and friends told stories. But no one came to her. Not a single hand reached out. Her loneliness was louder than the crowd itself. She looked down at her hands resting on her lap, whispering to herself, "Maybe I was never meant to belong." And just as her tears began to gather, a small, innocent voice broke through the noise. A little girl, holding a worn teddy bear, tugged at her father's hand. She didn't see the wheelchair. She didn't see the pain. She only saw someone who needed a friend. Her father, a kind-hearted single dad, looked at the young woman and with warmth in his eyes said gently, "My daughter would love to play with you." The girl in the wheelchair froze. Her heart, which had been drowning in silence, suddenly felt a spark of life. For the first time in so long, she wasn't being ignored, she was being invited. Tears slipped down her cheeks, but this time they carried hope instead of sorrow. That single moment, that single sentence, began to heal the cracks inside her soul. Friends, never underestimate the power of kindness. Sometimes, the smallest gesture can bring light to someone who has been living in darkness. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share for more touching stories. This is your channel, Soul of Kindness. Welcome, friends. The sun was setting, painting the sky in soft shades of orange and pink. People gathered at the cafe terrace, their laughter echoing in the golden air. But while joy surrounded the place, one corner held a different story. The CEO's daughter, sitting alone in her wheelchair. Her smile was faint, almost forced, as if she wore it only to hide the ache inside her heart. She watched the world go by, mothers hugging their children, friends teasing one another, couples sharing warm moments. And though she tried to appear strong, inside she whispered, "Why does no one see me? Why does no one stay?" Her loneliness felt heavier than her wheelchair. Then a little girl broke through the crowd, holding a teddy bear tighter than anything else in the world. She saw the young woman not as the world saw her, not as the CEO's paralyzed daughter, but simply as someone who needed a friend. She pulled her father's hand and led him forward. The man, a single dad with kindness written in his eyes, knelt down gently and said, "My daughter would love to play with you, if you'd like." The cafe grew silent in her heart. For a moment she didn't know what to say. No one had spoken to her like that in so long. Her lips trembled, her eyes filled with tears, but she nodded softly. The little girl stepped closer, placed her teddy in her lap, and smiled with innocence brighter than the setting sun. The woman's heart cracked open, and for the first time in years, she felt what it meant to belong. The father stood quietly watching, his own eyes heavy with emotion. In that instant, he realized kindness doesn't just change others, it heals us too. Friends, life's greatest wealth is not money, not power, it is love, compassion, and the courage to reach out. One gentle sentence can lift someone from despair into hope. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share for more soul-touching stories. This is your channel, Soul of Kindness. Welcome, friends. The night grew quieter as the stars slowly began to shine above the cafe. The young woman, the CEO's daughter, still sat in her wheelchair. But something inside her had already changed. For years, she had been surrounded by wealth, luxury, and power, yet none of it had healed her loneliness. But now, because of one small child and her father's gentle words, her heart was beginning to breathe again. The little girl laughed softly as she showed her teddy bear, holding it up proudly for the young woman to see. For the first time in years, the girl in the wheelchair let out a genuine smile, not forced, not painted on her face, but real. Her eyes glistened as she whispered, "No one has ever wanted to play with me like this before." The little one didn't understand pain, but she understood kindness. She hugged the young woman tightly, without fear, without hesitation. That innocent embrace felt warmer than all the riches her family owned. The father stood nearby, his eyes filled with emotion. He had seen his daughter's pure heart touch people before, but never like this. He looked at the CEO's daughter and said softly, "You are not alone. Sometimes it takes a child to remind us what love really means." Tears fell freely down her cheeks as she realized how one act of kindness had opened a door she thought would always remain closed. For the first time, she didn't feel like the paralyzed daughter of a CEO. She felt human. She felt seen. She felt loved. Friends, this moment reminds us all, wealth can build walls, but love tears them down. Compassion is the bridge between hearts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share for more heartfelt stories. This is your channel, Soul of Kindness. Welcome, friends. The stars now shone brightly above the quiet cafe. The once lonely girl in the wheelchair was no longer sitting in silence. She was surrounded by warmth, laughter, and a little girl's innocent joy. Her heart, once heavy with pain, now beat with hope. The little girl held her hand tightly and said softly, "You're my friend now. I'll never leave you alone." Those simple words broke down the last wall inside her. She leaned forward, hugging the child, tears flowing freely down her cheeks, tears that were no longer of sadness, but of healing. The single dad, standing close, watched with eyes glistening. He had raised his daughter with love, teaching her kindness, but tonight he realized his little one had taught him something too, that compassion has the power to change even the deepest wounds. He stepped closer and spoke gently. "You are not forgotten. You are not alone." Sometimes family is found in the most unexpected places. For the young woman, it was a moment she thought would never come. All her life she had been defined by her wheelchair, by her father's title, by the pity of strangers. But tonight she was defined by something else: love, friendship, and belonging. The cafe seemed to glow brighter, not from the lights, but from the kindness that had filled the air. 3 souls, a father, his daughter, and a girl who had once been invisible, were now bound together by something stronger than fate. Friends, this is the truth of life. You don't need to move mountains to change someone's world. Sometimes all it takes is a kind word, a small gesture, or a little hand reaching out to yours. So never forget, kindness costs nothing, but its value is beyond measure. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share for more heart-touching stories. This is your channel, Soul of Kindness.